Now this is a nice juicy little snowpack. Learn things from. Okay, that'll do. Sometimes, I have a little paintbrush and you kind of just paint it off and you can see the layers. Okay, now, for those of you that have already tried this, everybody, can you see there, or do you want to get around on this side? Probably better to get around on this side, yeah. Okay, so, clearly you've got this low density new snow up there, right? And, about 5 centimeters or something. So, that's not a slab. That's just going to it may slough off on a steep slope, but that's not going to cause freezing. That's just from a couple days ago there, right? And then below that, there's actually a weakness right below that crust. Okay? And then I go down and I've got still a relatively low density snow, and then suddenly right there I hit a higher density again. And so that's one weakness that's worth kind of testing. That's, because that's a little tiny bit more dense than that, not a lot. And then I keep going down, and there's another layer right there. And that layer is kind of the one that you can see over here. That's kind of a fairly nice little, persistent in terms of, but that's really, that's fairly, with low density snow. And then I've got fairly high density, and then right in here is this very obvious crust, right? Mm-hmm. That's a really hard crust. I can hardly push my fingers in there. We use a little system. We use a fist for hardness, one finger, pencil, and knife, right? And the hardest snow, you can hardly put a knife into this. So this would be fist up there, and sort of, one finger, two finger in there, sort of thing. Okay, now look, that's about a meter down, and then there's this big, huge, fat crust, and it goes down. There's a really refrozen layer there, and so basically from about there down, it's bomb-proof, right? So not particularly worried about that. That one flag goes up a little bit, and then also this one that's right on the crust. I want to, because when you get crusts, that means that the temperature went above freezing, which probably happened during a cold spell. And almost invariably here on the coast, when you get a frozen surface, at some point, the temperature goes down below freezing again, like it was. That's what can happen, because you get settlement below that crust supports, and snow below slightly settles and forms this nice little hollow space. That's what that's what the weakness is. So this is not unusual. And now here's another thing. Remember, Bruce made a point of this, which is very important. Is ask yourself: is it not just an easy, moderate, strong shear, but is it a sudden planer, like it bangs off like that we just did, right? Or is it sort of a sudden planer? They also, in the States, they call it a pop and drop, right? That's bad, right? So that's a tricky layer. It's actually surprising. Exactly.
Yeah,
See, because that's usually not enough to plain
just underneath, like there was some depth
fairly planar, moderate sort of, you know, I didn't have to, you know, really yard on it. You know, clearly also, you know, a significant weakness. Okay, so we should actually test that. Right there, surprisingly below something that we think would give stability, but you know, clearly, like that layer, that little frozen, right? That was that layer that we were with the pole, we were punching through. You know, you went through this loose snow and then click, it kind of collapsed. That's what that was, right? So even in our shovel shear test, even though we, I mean, in our pole test, even though we didn't really realize it was going to be that weak, it was telling us that hey, there was a weakness there, right? And then we've got sort of a moderate shear further down, and then we've got this potential sort of moderate hard shear down there. We need to test that a few more times, right? And then, you know, we'll give it a college try to see if we can get that really weak layer down there. It's those layers down to that shear there, down to that melt freeze that we want to really focus on. Like that clearly is way thick enough to give us huge amounts of bridging strength. Okay, so you know, now of course with a group like this we have the benefit that we can do this now many times and we can do a repeat and just see whether we get repeatability, because good science means that we should always get repeatability, right? So really a probe. Now that's interesting to me. Like, so that's a hard isolator. So it's already passed that test, right? Okay, then the next step. Okay, are you ready? Next step is to get above and gently step onto the block and see what happens. Okay, so even that top layer isn't going. Third is to do kind of a knee drop, right? Ooh. Okay, now I couldn't quite see. Was that below the little crust, or was that
two crusts together?
Both of them? Okay, so it went off below.
That was this.
Okay, that's that.
Like that.
So that's a Rutsch block 2, right? It didn't come off, but you know, a really easy Rutsch block 2. That's going to be a dynamic layer. You know, that doesn't heal. So we can get healed next week. Mark my words.
When?
Next week. Okay. And then the next thing is a slight jump. Okay. So that's a Rutsch block 3 now. And now we do violent. 6. Okay, so everything else is R6, right? So those lower layers, see how nicely we can pick them up here. But here we're now on it? Yeah. So just stick it tomorrow to the left and the right. Yeah, exactly.
gotta measure the total snowpack here. Whoa! Fish it out.
Uh-oh.
Look at you can see it.
Look at some holy relic and we're all going down.
Oh, blade of grass, but I couldn't grab it.
Really?
What?
Saw a blade
On
of
the
grass, but he couldn't grab it.
Okay, want us to pull you out?
Yeah.
Shoot, you got a stick down there.
So how far down do I have to get to?
When your head hits the ground, you're too far.
Alright. So where
Are you
is
gonna
it?
go head
Yeah.
first or feet first?
I'm going head first. So how far down from the bottom am I looking?
Oh,
Is it really
it's
obvious?
pretty well right at the bottom. Yeah,
Okay.
there's the heather, and then there's a crust, a very obvious rain crust, and then on top of that is it must be a good 5 centimeters.
Jeff, you want to go down with a video camera? You can have that shot as you're going in.
Okay, shovel.
Yeah, sure.
I think this is a little bit above and beyond due diligence for mislayer detection.
Avi 6.
It's called keenness. Above and beyond the Call of Duty. Okay.
Oh, watch your crampons there, dude.
Crampons are gonna make this interesting.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's got nice handles in the
Red
back.
pole.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.